episode of The Preacher and the Prodigy. It's week 9 of the college football season. We are ready to go. We're doing this one live. I had a lot of commitments earlier in the week, so it is about 10:47 a.m. as we are recording.
We're 13 minutes from kickoff,
and
Saturday
games are going to
pick.
And we are going to try to roll through this one fairly quickly so we can get to watching some games, get some yard work, and get ready for another season of college football.
It's leaf apocalypse outside.
It is. It's hard to see the grass. It's like fans storming the field. There's
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hardly any green.
Fans storming the field. Like Illini fans.
There's too many fans storming the fields. I mean, like a few weeks ago, like Arizona State stormed the field after beating Utah. It's getting a little outrageous, but it's still fun to see.
Someday, after I preach a sermon less than a half hour, the youth group is going to storm the platform at church. Anyway.
So we're ready to dive into this one. A recap from last week. Michigan, they did not play well against Illinois at all. The coaching noticeably was probably the worst of any game this season. We were able to move the ball down the field, but when it came to it, we only had 7 points, and we had more yardage than them. But, I mean, when push came to shove, we could not put the ball in the end zone.
You know, it's dire straits for Michigan right now. I didn't think the coaching defensively was as bad, but there was a couple of offensive sequences where just clock management, things like that, were really, really poor. And I also think that there's only so much coaching you can do when your quarterback is that careless with the ball in his seventh year in college football, and your punter, who was a world beater 12 months ago, is just shanking everything. And even when he doesn't shank it, he's like hitting it for 35, 37 yards. So many short fields, the defense can't hold up that long with so many short fields to defend, and turnovers and sudden change opportunities for the other team. I thought that Colston Loveland played well, and they really made an effort to target him. But as we head into the game against Michigan State, Michigan has now made its... Well, let's think about how many quarterback changes. We went from Orgy to Warren back to Orgy to Tuttle, and now Tuttle back to Warren. And the one person everyone wants to see, Jaden Davis, still sits on the sideline. This is a huge game, this pivoting from Illinois to Michigan. And I'll tell you why. It does not look to me at all probable that Michigan is going to beat Indiana, Oregon, or Ohio State. No. I mean, those seem like very likely losses at this point. So Michigan needs to get 2 more wins to get to bowl eligibility. That is so important, not just because playing in the Car Care Bowl or the famous nasal spray bowl of Sarasota is important. It's important because Michigan needs those additional 15 practices or 4 weeks of practices. This is year 0. I mean, I'm willing to say it's year 1/2 because of what was inherited in some of the coaches. But they need, in particular, to have those practices with Jaden Davis running as the first-team quarterback. They need to feel what it's like when the likely opt-outs of Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant and Will Johnston and Colston Loveland open opportunities for the Marlon Kleins and the Hogan Hansons and the Brady Priestcorns and the Ike Owunas and folks like that who need that extra playing time. Brandon Hillman. So Michigan really, really needs to win this game, and now the question is, will they?
Yeah, and it's even, I mean, you can look at it at just a day-by-day basis. Michigan needs to win this game to save face. I mean, Michigan State, I mean, you can make an argument, has looked better than Michigan so far this season. And when Michigan State plays Michigan, they always play their best game. This is their Super Bowl. They always have, 3 drives lined up that they've saved since, June. And this means the world to them. And we got to be able to really just defend our turf in a night game. And in order for Sharon Moore not to have everybody hate him, he's got to perform well against Sparty tonight.
Yeah, I don't think everybody hates Sharon Moore, or I think everyone thinks Sharon Moore squandered some opportunities. I was just talking on another podcast about Ryan Day being born on third base. Was Sharon Moore born on third base here. To me, it feels like Sharon Moore was born between second and third in a rundown.
In a pickle, yeah.
Like, so he had a lot of things going for him. He had Kalal Mullings and Donovan Warren and two great defensive tackles and a great corner. But it wasn't exactly like the transition from Urban Meyer to Ryan Day, where everything was ready to go. He had an established system. So let's talk about it. Who and how is going to come out victorious tonight?
Michigan's favored by 3.5. This line has come down significantly over the course of the week. It opened at around 6.5. So bettors really liking the Spartans tonight. You are leading overall this year. You're ahead of me by 2 games picking the game, 23-17, 21-19 in terms of win-loss records, picking games against the spread. How do you think this is going to go down?
I'm going to take Michigan State to win the game. Maybe it's just recency bias, but I saw Michigan State just did to Iowa. I saw what Iowa did to Washington, and I know what Washington did to Michigan. So there is certainly the transitive property at work there, but you just can't be on your fourth quarterback. Aiden Childs is a true freshman, and he will make some mistakes. I think that there will be a certain atmospheric impact to his game tonight with a loud big house. But you just wonder how passionate Michigan fans are even really going to be at this point after a long day. So I'm going to take Michigan State to win the game, and I will take Michigan State to win the game. I'm going to pick a score here. I'm going to say 19-13, Michigan State.
Yeah, I like your my team is better than your team.com logic earlier with the, how Michigan State has performed against teams that have killed.
Now, the only thing is that in each one of those teams' games, the winners were at home.
Yes. However, you saw what Iowa did to Washington. If Iowa played Michigan the way they looked, they would beat us by 40. But anyways, I'm going to agree with you. I think Michigan State is going to come in with more energy than Michigan will. I think that's huge in rivalry games. And I really just believe that this is such a gut feeling, but it's also like the way these teams have played. Aiden Childs will make mistakes, but it's just about does Michigan have the ability to capitalize on those mistakes and capitalize on a short field? And we see that we have been able to drive the field. That hasn't been the problem, but the problem has been when you get to the red zone, how do you perform there? I like Michigan State to win this game. Give Michigan State 16-10, lots of field goals.
I'm going to ask you one side prop bet here. Over under total turnovers in this game. 3.5 for both teams.
Man, I think over. I think Childs probably throws 2 picks. Davis Warren throws.
It could be Jack Tuttle at some point in the game, too.
Probably will be. Probably see all 3 quarterbacks out there, but Childs will throw 2 picks, and I will be willing to say that Davis Warren will throw a pick or 2, or there will be a fumble somewhere.
That would actually be the idea. If Michigan had all 3 quarterbacks out there at one time. No one on the defense would know.
Pass.
No one on the defense would know which one of them is going to throw the interception.
They talk about swinging it for the double pass for a screen, but if you have all 3 of them out there, you can get Orji as a running threat in motion.
Split out Jaden Denical wide. Michigan could have those 5 quarterbacks position players. It would just be no one could catch the ball. But all right, we're gonna go rapid fire here for the rest of these games because Notre Dame Navy is about to kick off.
Yeah, Notre Dame Navy. Notre Dame is favored by 14 points. This is a road game at Navy. It's
not at Navy. It's in an NFL stadium game.
Yeah,
it's not like in Annapolis.
It's like a home game for Navy.
It is not going to be like a home game.
It's going to feel like it for Navy because this is the biggest game Navy has played besides Army. In such a long time, both these.
You're telling me that those stands are going to be mostly Navy fans?
I feel like the Navy fans are going to be more. This is like when we went to the Michigan-Villanova championship game. There were far more Michigan fans in the stadium in 2017, but Villanova fans were just louder. That's going to be the case today. I still think Notre Dame is going to cream Navy. Give me the Irish, big time.
I'll take those 14.5 or 14 points. I agree with you. I think Notre Dame's looked very good of late, and but I'm just gonna for fun. I'm gonna take Navy,
Navy.
and we're gonna say a 28-13 Notre Dame win. Give me the cover for
All right.
Navy because it's gonna be a game in which Navy grinds clock. They're not as ground based as they used to be, but I don't know. We'll see.
They won't be able to grind clock against Notre Dame. Next up, we got an afternoon game, West Coast. Team that just beat Michigan, Illinois, heading to the number 1 team in the land, Oregon Ducks. The Ducks are favored by 21.5 points.
That's a good line.
Yeah.
I'm picking again. Yeah. It's a really hard line. It's a good line. I'll take Illinois. I mean, I'm gonna, I can see this thing being 37-17, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Give me Illinois.
That's
also.
a lot of. That's just a lot.
I mean, even if it's
points.
38-17, we cover, and that's still a big win. So give me Illinois also. And moving to night games, number 8 LSU at number 14 Texas A&M. This is the second big night game Texas A&M has had this year. First one they lost against Notre Dame. This is basically a pick 'em. A&M is favored by 1 point.
A&M is it's just all over the map this year.
Yeah.
They're a wild team.
I like LSU in this game. I really like the way that Garrett Nussmeier has performed in recent history, and I think that LSU started to figure it out after kind of a shaky start. They beat Ole Miss, and even though Ole Miss hasn't looked great, they beat Ole Miss, and they're still a top 20 team, and getting a big win over Arkansas in their last game. I like LSU to cover and win the game.
I have no idea. I'm going to take what I know. I'm going to go LSU also.
Right.
I don't have any idea what's happening with Elko because someday they can drop the hammer on some people and then on Missouri and other days they just look lousy. It's a year 0 team as well, College Station.
All right, last game, probably one of the most fun games this weekend. Number 3 Penn State is going on the road at night to Camp Randall Stadium where they play Wisconsin.
We'll probably be able to hear the cheering for our house.
It's going to be so wild. Jump around will be going crazy if it's a close game. Penn State is favored by 6.5 points. Give me Wisconsin to win this game outright.
Woo!
I think that the way Wisconsin has played, albeit against far inferior teams, has been really impressive, and Penn State has not looked impressive besides against Kent State. So give me Wisconsin to win this game outright in a huge upset, biggest upset of the Saturday. There's always got to be one in there. Give me Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go Penn State, but I don't love it. You're right. What has been Penn State's crowning achievement this year? They beat USC.
They beat Illinois.
They beat Illinois 21-7. They beat USC and USC, but Maryland beat USC. So but I think I think this is but Maryland beat USC also.
Wow. So I guess it's not a...
Yeah. So they both USC.
However, earlier in the year when Wisconsin did go to USC, Wisconsin got torched. But
well, in the second half.
That's kind of just
the second half.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to go with Penn State. I think this is going to be a game in which Penn State now begins to ramp up toward a big back end of the season. We've said for 2 or 3 years in this podcast, we think this is a good season for Penn State. And I do think they're looking ahead to the Buckeyes a little bit, but I don't think that they will be submarined entirely by Wisconsin. Give me Penn State.
All right. Give me the Badgers. Sweet. Games have started. Anything else you want to talk about? Dordt Morningside is going to be going on. That's going to be a big game of the GPAC.
Yep. Northwestern has Dak Wes, so it shouldn't be that difficult of a game. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Get things going before that big clash in Sioux Center.
Yep.
All right. Until next time, I am Yo Estoy the Preacher.
And I don't know that much Spanish, but I'm Yo Estoy the Prodigy.
Peace.
Deuces.